Welcome back. The South African Events Council says the restrictions on the venue capacity will continue to be a major setback for the events industry. The industry is now looking for a way forward after receiving no financial support, despite not being able to function at full capacity. Lockdown during COVID-19 and lack of disposable income amid rising unemployment has crippled many industries, especially the entertainment industry. Justin van Wyk is the CEO of Big Concerts, and he joins us now. A very good evening to you, Justin. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Now, I've heard some in your industry saying that the events industry has been hung out to dry during the pandemic. Do you share these sentiments?
Yeah, look, I certainly appreciate where that comes from. And I think it stems from the fact that right from the outset, all types of gatherings were designated as super spreaders. And that's really been the case for 489 days now. So I appreciate where that comment comes from. And we are reaching a critical point. You know, it's no longer a conversation about recovery of our industry. It's about a complete rebuild of the industry from scratch. There are no more jobs. We've lost venues, we've lost suppliers, and very soon, you know, we don't even know what's going to be left once we go back to business.
So just share with us what it has been like for you over the past couple of months. I was listening to a representative of the tourism industry saying it's been especially hard for them because these decisions are often come with the moniker with immediate effect, and that means that you must then dismantle all the plans that you have in place. And imagine where you have an event in place, it must be equally difficult. How have you weathered the storm? How has it panned out for you managing this?
Well, sadly for a lot of people in the industry, they haven't weathered the storm. The reality has been that even at 500 capacity outdoors, the vast majority of events have not been able to operate in a financially sustainable way. You know, we've had border foreclosures, there's been a shipping crisis, and there's really been that uncertainty that every time when the hospital admissions increase and the deaths start rolling in, the very first industry to be locked down is the industries that are dependent on the gathering and the movement of people. Initially, what quite a few of the artists and the promoters and festivals and organizers and venues as well try to do is to migrate to streaming and to do digital-based service delivery to fans. But that's never really caught on unless you're a BTS or a Beyonce or a Dua Lipa demanding a global audience. It's not something that can be done on a financially sustainable basis. And very soon, you know, fans got tired of the 1 or 2 camera experience with an artist. It was great, it was intimate in the beginning, but after a while, you know, people have just moved on. And it's really the live experience, it's the face-to-face, the pinnacle of the artistic or the music experience is that live experience between the artist and the fan, and that's been sorely missing.
And that's what I've been wondering, because I know some have pivoted to online entertainment, but as you say, it's about feeding off the vibe from each other, from the artist to the audience, and just everybody being in a place. So there have been events with limited capacity. Have these been financially viable for those who have managed to put together some sort of event?
No, I mean, to answer the first part of your question, if you ask any footballer or rugby player or cricket player or artist, they all tell you that they are very sorely missing the fans in the stadiums. I mean, South Africa, the Springboks haven't played any international matches for 18 months, and Saturday they could have used with South African fans in the audience cheering them on. So yeah, I mean, nobody, as far as we know, other than the really big global artists, have been able to make a sustainable business out of streaming. It just doesn't cover the cost. You got the cost of broadcasting, you have to set up the production, you have to stream it and the market and do everything else. And then, you know, sometimes with international acts even that we've tried to promote in South Africa, big international names, big production, we'd sell 40 tickets. You know, and for that sort of level of revenue, you know, 40 tickets at 50 Rand, that's absolutely nothing. That covers no costs at all. So unfortunately, we haven't made that digital progression yet. And some markets have done it, you know, America to some extent, but largely worldwide, people want to see their artists and their sports, you know, their sports players live.
So, Justin, talk to me about the future of work in this industry. I believe $30 billion US dollars globally has been lost in the past year alone in the industry. Can it function in future again without the stigma of it being regarded as a super spreader event?
Yeah, the losses have been staggering. You know, it's the cultural and creative industries on their own contribute 75 billion to the economy. If you take in the total economic impact, that's the multiplier impact, it becomes 250 billion. The figures out of the exhibitions market is 35 plus billion. And if you start adding on tourism and sport, you know, suddenly it's, with the workers, we're talking of 2 million plus people working in these gatherings industries and an economic impact well above 10 or 15% of GDP. And that's the $1 million question, right? Is how long is it going to take for someone to feel comfortable in an environment such as the one that I'm showing in my background, where there is no social distancing and no masks? You know, when is that going to happen? The reality is that that's going to take years and years and years for these industries to recover. And with that, the fixed capital stock, you know, the equipment, the venues, the manufacturing output, all of that is lost. All of that has to be rebuilt from scratch. And I would say it's a good number of years, 3 years, 5 years. It's a long-term recovery.
As you speak about venues, as you speak about loss, huge, I'm thinking of the closure of the TicketPro Dome. What would it be, the impact for a company such as yours? Big Concerts has staged so many international and local acts there. You know, is this an opportunity for growth, innovation? Talk to us.
Yeah, so look, firstly, it was a major shock. You know, the industry's been using that venue for 20 years. You know, the Dome's first concert was Diana Ross, I think, in 1998. And, you know, for over 22 years, the events industry's been paying the rent, keeping the lights on. And unfortunately, for the last 2 years, it has been unable to do so. And the owners of the venue decided to sell it to another company who's not going to use it for events. It's a massive loss for South Africa. It is the only large arena over 12,000 capacity that we can offer in South Africa for concerts and exhibitions. And if we look at South Africa as part of the world, you know, that loss of capacity in Johannesburg is going to come at a cost to South Africa as a whole. Because if you don't have a big show that you can do in South Africa's economic capital, where you have 16 million people in Gauteng province, you're really going to struggle to get artists and big global events to come all this way if you can't offer them an opportunity in our economic hub. So that's a massive, massive loss for the industry, for the creative workers, for everyone. But it is also a major opportunity. It's a major opportunity to revigorate the business in Johannesburg, to potentially build a new world-class arena that can compete with the big megas, alpha and mega and beta cities in the world. But that in itself, again, 3, 4, 5 years before we see anything like that in Johannesburg.
So calling all investors, aren't we? Thank you so much for speaking to us. Justin van Wyk is the CEO of Big Concerts, and I'm sure many memories were made at the TicketPro Dome, and many people are shattered by this news. But as Justin says, that it is an opportunity for doing better and bigger.